year and the first Police Services Board meeting of 2022 for January 18th. I've taken attendance and I'm going to start with election of chair and vice chair. So I'd like to open the floor for nominations for the position of chair, please. Mayor Bailey.
I'd like to nominate Jennifer to remain in the chair.
And Jennifer, do you accept the nomination?
I do, with thanks. Thank you, Mayor Bailey.
Okay, is there any more nations? I'm
Sorry, I didn't know if we needed a second for it.
Not yet. Is there any more nominations? No? Can I have someone move to close the nominations? Councillor Pierce. And a seconder for that? Ms. Brown. And can I have nominations for the position of vice chair? Mayor Bailey.
Councillor Pierce.
Councillor Pierce, do you accept the nomination?
Well, I have a question first. I'm not sure how it works. I know Member Brown and Member Verhey, theirs is, I guess their terms end in February. So I guess it would really just be myself, the mayor, and Jennifer after that. Is that a fair statement?
Unless their term is renewed, then yes. If Member Brown and Member Verhey was nominated vice chair, then it would be for today's meeting. And then we would review it again the next meeting, depending on their status.
Okay, and with that being said, I'll decline with thanks, and I'll if I can, I would propose Member Brown stay as vice chair, and we'll see how that works through.
Okay, Member Brown, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any more nominations for vice chair? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to close nominations? Mayor Bailey?
Yeah.
And
Motion
seconder
to
for that?
close nominations.
Jen, thank you. And Jen, you have the floor.
Thank you, everybody. Councillor Pierce, I had the same questions as you did in terms of how that domino effect would work. So I guess we will wait to see in the next few weeks what the appointment or reappointment process looks like for either Member Brown or Member Verhey. And if not February, it could be just the three of us at the meeting, if that's the case. So with that, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody for your confidence to be chair again for another year. I appreciate the support from everybody, and it's been a learning curve. And so hopefully this next year, 2022, will be another great year for us together, working together for the benefit of the community and in partnership with our OPP partners as well. So let's, without further ado, get right into the agenda. Item number 3, we'll need to approve the proposed agenda. Is there anything that needs to be added or a motion to approve, Councillor Pierce?
Please.
Thank you. A seconder for that, Mayor Bailey, and all those in favor of the agenda, and that's carried. We need to declare our pecuniary interests at this time, if any. I'm seeing none. We don't have any delegations, petitions, or presentations today. So we'll get right into item number 6, and that's the adoption of the minutes from the previous meeting on December 21st. Everybody's reviewed them. Is there a motion to approve? Member Brown and Member Verhey, are you willing to second that motion? Thank you. So all those in favor of the motion then, and that's carried as well. I just had a quick update on the business arising from the minutes. I'm not sure if others have the same, any additional questions or comments of follow-up, but I just wanted to follow up with Inspector Ferguson from the discussion that we had about Mile Hill Road, if you had any additional updates to be able to provide on that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did speak with Greg Demers, our Director of Roads Department. He expressed the same concern. He did tell me that the county is working on some solution, both short and long term, for that specific hill. He said that when they have their items in place, that they will make sure that we are aware, and he will forward us the information so that we can monitor the decision. But they have been looking at it, and we'll come up with something for us.
Great. Councillor Pierce?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Through you, just to add to that, if I could, yeah, Greg and I have had a few discussions on it as well. It's been a number of years, the discussions on what to do with that, and he's hoping to have some sort of plan formulated to bring forward end of first quarter of 2022. So we'll go by then, and then we'll see what happens. Because the unfortunate part with the hill is the fact that as far as putting in sidewalks and stuff like that, that's not possible with the shifting and the way the hill goes. So if in fact the decision is made to make it potentially one way, then what it would just be markers on the side that would section off a sidewalk multi-use path. So yeah, definitely it's been in the works, and hats off to Greg. He's been doing a lot of investigation work on it as to what can be done, because unfortunately with the I don't want to say the stability of the hill, but with the way the hill shifts and that sort of stuff, there's not, you can't do everything you could on a normal road. So, and as I say, he's hoping to end of first quarter to have something to us.
Great. It sounds like everybody's working to try and find a solution to the challenge, the unintended consequences of all the other development and that road being a shortcut perhaps, and non-roundabout road. So hopefully Inspector Ferguson, your team is able to still get in and out of Paris in efficient times without having to necessarily use that road all the time either. We'll see what happens, I guess. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, or?
Nope, that's all right now.
Okay, great. Well, is there any other business arising from the minutes that anybody wants an update on? Okay, seeing none, we will then move into Inspector Ferguson's detachment commander's report on item 8.1.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You all have the report there. So just under the staffing, on the 23rd of December, some of us got together here, a very small group, to celebrate with Constable Barry Hussey for his retirement. 30 years of policing in the community of Brant, as well as the Paris PD early on. But I just want to send along a thank you message to everyone that contributed, sending messages of congratulations, or those that attended to provide presentations for that day. Thank you to the board here for sending that award along with the chair to present to him. It was a great day, so thank you. In the staffing, you'll see that the 3 new recruits that we've been speaking about at the last couple of meetings, they will be arriving and joining us here on February the 7th. Staff Sergeant Gutenberg has put together a plan, a full day of orientation with them, including a presentation done by the chair of the PSB board. So we're looking forward to having them here. We did find out that an additional 4 recruits are going to join us in the next class as well. So lots more new faces coming to Brant. So we're very excited about that. In the community mobilization officer, Constable Murphy continues to do her work within our community. She responded and attended to 10 crisis calls during December. There were 23 coast referrals for mental health follow-ups as well. One of the things that Constable Murphy did with the MCERT worker was that they met closely with the multicultural coordinator of Nova Vita. So they did some training and spoke quite a bit about cultural practices for our growing Muslim and Indian community. So we're hoping to bring some of that training to the other constables at the detachment here as well. The youth and school resource officer with the school closures is back in our schools now this week. Her report is there showing that 5 calls for criminal code with youth, as well as 11 provincial offenses with youth. Media was very busy. I know that you saw my media release from yesterday that I sent along to the chair. Constable Vitalis continues to add social media posts and quite a bit on Facebook and Twitter there. So lots of great things happening here over the holidays. In the focus patrol sections, these are the ones that we created just in November that the officers themselves had input into. And Staff Sergeant Gutenberg has pulled together the total up to this point. So 80 hours, 25 PONs, 11 Part 3s, and 2 criminal code charges as a result of that. Our traffic management unit has been increasingly busy, along with our West Region Time Highway Safety Division. And you'll see the totals there for December, as well as the total overall for the year. So next month, when I report on January's, it will start a running total for January as well, unless you're looking for me to just keep adding all of the totals for the traffic management unit. The Crime Stopper section, we had 12 Crime Stopper tips. Year to date, it was 377 Crime Stoppers tips. You'll see the recovered property and drugs and the values that are in that chart there. And Staff Sergeant Gutenberg has put together the noteworthy events for the month of December. Quite a few things happening in our area, and quite a bit of fun over the holidays though. In the Trends and Action section, I did pull the stats for the October, and those are the 2-month lag for the ICON network. And it shows that an increase in total charges for the month of October compared to last October was 30%, and an overall increase year to date. Of note, speeding charges are up 48% compared to 2020. Violent crime is up 22% year to date, and property crime is down in December, and down just slightly for the year, but we do have our drug crime similar to 2020. In December, unfortunately, we had a fatality on our roadways, which brought us to 4 lost lives in 2021, which is down compared to the prior year. There was a 60% decrease in personal injuries, so PI MVCs, but overall MVCs are up 11% year to date. The vehicle-related property crime continues to trend upwards. We remind people to continue to lock your vehicles, keep your valuables out of sight. We did have an increase again in stolen vehicles, and we are seeing that crime trend in our neighboring municipalities to the north, Hamilton, Waterloo, and in Brantford City. So we are seeing that again, and our analyst is working closely with the other analysts. Mental health calls saw a slight decrease for December actually, but remain increase over year to date. 911 calls as well as alarm calls are continue to be down overall, but the alarm calls were up a little bit in December. Domestic disturbance calls increased in the month of December compared to last year, and they continue to be up compared to 2020 as well as 2019. And I've put in there the 2 increases, overall patrol hours for 2021 compared to the year before, as well as foot patrol hours overall for 2021 are there. And pending any questions, those are the reports on the statistics for the month of December.
Thanks, Inspector Ferguson. With respect to your traffic management unit question about statistics and tracking, what would you like to see for the January report? Do you want to see a comparison still against 2021? Do you want the running total as was suggested as one option? How do you want to see that reported on for 2022?
If I could, Madam Chair, I know that the traffic management unit wasn't implemented till later in the year, so I just am not sure that you'll have that comparison at the start of this year. So I was just thinking that running total might be better for visible of what the unit is providing.
So still report the January and then the running total is the next line instead of Councillor Pierce, your thumbs up. Member Brown, everybody's good? Great. Okay.
Thank you.
That's resolved. So let's go into some questions and discussion with respect to the detachment commander's report. I'm sure there's folks that have some questions. I'll kick off then. I know Councillor Pierce, I can count on him, but I'll kick off quickly just to clarify on page 14 of the report on the Crime Stoppers. I just want to make sure I understood this. In December 2021, the value of the drugs recovered was 12 million and change. And then the value of year 2021 to date, that's including December. I'm assuming that the additional 12 million and 76. So
Correct.
so the biggest seizure happened in December for the whole year, is by the looks of it, for the value of the drugs recovered.
Yeah, that's how I understand that report. And
Okay.
I can verify it with the Crime Stoppers coordinator. But yes, that's my understanding of it.
That's pretty prolific if the value of the drugs recovered since the inception of the program in 19, that's almost a third of the total value. That's pretty prolific for that to have happened in December. So well done. If that's what the numbers tell us, I'll let you confirm. Any other questions or comments or discussions? Member Verhey?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair, to the inspector. The two questions. The first one, the focus patrols. Can you refresh our memory on how those are set? How do you determine month over month which focus patrols are set up, and what's kind of the factors or the criteria that create one of these focus patrols, as per page 13? Sorry.
Okay. And through you, Madam Chair, I will ask Staff Sergeant Gutenberg, who creates those, to speak to it if he feels comfortable doing so. If not, I can answer.
I do, and through you, Madam Chair. The focus patrols, we do not have a set methodology of how we assign them. What I like to do is I like to do a stepped approach. When I have statistics available, whether it be through Speed Spy or numerous complaints from the public, I'll establish a focus patrol in that area. When I don't have data that supports the focus patrol in that manner, I will rely on either the officers on the road, such as what I did for this period. And for the next one going forward, which starts in February, I've relied on each sergeant to provide me their area of concern regarding where they feel our enforcement level should be for focus patrol that will make the greatest impact.
Thank you. And then my second question is related to page 16. There's a reference there about halfway down or 3/4 of the way down in the list, talks about stolen vehicles and theft from motor vehicles. Just for clarification, does that mean vehicles that are just broken into or have the windows smashed out? I just know I'm only asking because there was quite a string of that activity happening in the Burford area, I think in the month of December. So I just wanted to clarify that those numbers are included in that statistic.
Through you, Madam Chair, the number that you see there, the statistic does include those which are locked, where a window may be smashed or other entry gained, but it also includes those that are unlocked. So without going through each of the occurrences to have the analyst take a look at which ones are locked, that statistic that you're seeing is both.
Thank you.
Councillor Pierce?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Through you, a couple things. First of all, in regards to with the noteworthy events, there's still more than we would like to see, but considering the season that it was, I'm happy that there's only a few impaired drivings on there, which hopefully people are getting the lesson on that. So again, I guess best case scenario, we don't want to see any, but if we look back at the last 3 or 4 or 5 months, it seemed to be quite a few of them. So with the festive season and stuff like that, hopefully people are getting the idea. So that's a good news story as far as I'm concerned, even though there is still a few of them. If we go into the stats, the one page, bear with me here, page 24, when it talks about the integrated court offense network, it says it's October there. Is that just because the reporting is a couple of months back, or why does that say October?
Through you, Madam Chair, when I mentioned that there was a lag, so a ticket is written and it takes time to process through our court staff and our court services to get into the court for a determination to be made on whether or not those charges, if they're processed, paid, whether or not there was an error in the ticket to show that the charge would proceed. There are a number of reasons that it takes a while to get documented into the courts. So I run that statistic 2 months after, because those processes have already taken place. It's a clearer number.
Okay, no, I appreciate that explanation. I guess my bad, I haven't noticed that before in previous months, so that's good on that. The other one I just want to make note of, and you mentioned it in there on page 27 when it comes to 911 calls. They're way down, which is fantastic news. I'm hoping that part of that is, you know, the education that we're putting out there in regards to 911 calls. Not that we don't want people to use the service, but, you know, use it for the appropriate reasons. I'll put it at that. So that's kind of nice that that those number of calls seem to be declining down a little bit, which again, I guess it's twofold. Hopefully we're in a situation where it's not required, or people are actually understanding that that is for emergency purposes only. So that's good. The only other thing, Madam Chair, you kind of good on you for the number on the Crime Stoppers there, because I kind of noted that as well. It looks as though December was a huge month of the year, as well as you said, overall since inception in 1988. It's the bulk of it there. So it'd be interesting to understand the final call on that. But other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Inspector Ferguson, just to follow up on Councillor Pierce's comments about 911 calls, is that an impact of how they're triaged as well then, or is that still ongoing?
Yep, through you, Madam Chair, I can advise Councillor Pierce that 2 years ago, the OPP implemented our call taking service, strategic change initiatives to be able to filter some of those calls. We were receiving multiple 911 hangups that were bouncing off of towers of a traveling vehicle that really didn't have a location, didn't have an owner for the phone for us to follow up with. So now our dispatch center is actually triaging some of those. So we aren't seeing as many come to the front line as well. So that is playing a factor in it. But people are certainly getting more familiarized with their phones and not accidentally dialing 911 as well.
It's good to see that has impact. Member Brown?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to Inspector Ferguson. You advised that we're having 4 more recruits coming with the next class. When do you anticipate them coming?
Through you, Madam Chair, we were just advised of that this last week, and we're hoping that with COVID delays at the Police College, we're hoping to see them in the fall, early fall.
Okay, so do we currently have positions for them, or will they be surplus?
They will be replacing some of the officers, such as Constable Hussey, other officers that are, we had Constable Dietz that are moved to the AGCO. So they are replacing other ones that are leaving.
So we currently have vacancies that will accommodate all those positions?
That should fill our vacancies at that point.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to highlight the work, I guess the collaboration between the West Region Highway Safety Division and the Traffic Management Unit. It's great to see the weekend roundup communication that you shared with the Police Service Board. I guess I just wanted to note that that's a great collaboration that we benefit from, having the Highway Safety Division live out of our detachment, I guess, and be part of that. We benefit in the county for that work, obviously from the charges that were laid, in addition to what the Traffic Management Unit was doing. So I think that's a great news story of having a new detachment building, having the location right on the 403, having the folks from West Region be starting and ending in our county when they do their day, or however that works. I just wanted to acknowledge that collaboration really benefits the county at no additional cost to us really either. So that's even better. So I guess I just wanted to acknowledge that work and how good it is to see the positive impact that they're having together. Any other questions or feedback? I know that county residents, it doesn't seem to matter where you live right now. Everybody's bothered by the break-ins of vehicles, or I think last week there was a theft of a running vehicle from driveways here in St. George, and everybody's bothered by these things, but it doesn't seem like it's trending upwards. It looks from the numbers that we've had this situation happen before, and I guess we can relate it back to some other statistics, but I guess I would really encourage our citizens to lock their vehicles. And we like that we are a rural county. We appreciate our ruralness, but things are changing, and we have to remember that that we need to take prevention and precautions as well, and to lock our vehicles whenever possible. Okay, if there's no other comments or discussion on the detachment commander's report, on page 29, we have just need to flip there, the false alarm summary for December, well, for 2021, December, and then you can see the numbers. So we've discussed December has seen the most amount of invoices sent for false alarms. So I guess that was enough warnings. But this, I guess, is there anything that anybody wants to discuss with respect to this report? Seeing none. So right now then we'll need a motion to accept both the detachment commander's report and the false alarm summary for information. Thank you, Member Brown. Seconded by Councillor Pierce. And all those in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Inspector Ferguson.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 9 is communications. I don't believe we have any to discuss or report on at this time. So we'll move into we haven't had a meeting like this fast in a long time. I know, right? Item number 10 is updates. So we'll start off with Councillor Pierce. Anything from council that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I've probably got about 45 minutes worth, so we'll just get it.
Okay.
No, just a couple quick things. It was brought up at our last meeting in regards to the stats with speeding and that sort of thing. As you know, we're looking at the automated speed enforcement thing in the county. And as we know, it can only go in school zones and community safety zones. What we're trying to understand is, with the speeding fines and stuff that are going on out there, is there any way to indicate, or I'm not sure if the officers noted or anything like that, how many of these are in these community safety zones or school zones? I'm not sure if there's any way we could break down the stats on that, or if that would be available. I'm not sure. It was just it was something that was brought up at our last meeting to try and understand. Okay, and you know, by the way, when it was brought up, the fact that the work that the traffic management unit is doing with clamping on speeding and stuff like that, that was well received by council. But as I say, the question was, is there any way that we could break down as to how much of this is happening in those community safety zones? Not sure if it's possible or not.
Through you, Madam Chair, and I will request staff Gutenberg correct me if I'm incorrect on any of this. If it is already designated as a community safety zone, or there is a different fine within the HTA, because there are increased fines already.
Right.
So we would be able to see if an officer laid a charge applicable to speeding in a community safety zone. So we should be able to obtain that, but we would have to pull those tickets to that specific HTA offense.
Okay. Yeah, if that's possible, that would be great. If we could kind of have that breakdown, that'd be fantastic. The only other thing, no, maybe that was it. So it was just the speeding one. I'm just looking at my notes here.
Councillor Pierce, is that breakdown, is that to help quantify the cost benefit, or is that to,
No, well, what we're trying to understand is because with the ASE, they can only go in certain zones, right? Now we've created bylaws to add additional community safety zones and that sort of thing. But we're just trying to get an idea of, you know, speeding is across the county, and we understand that, we know that. But we're just trying to understand is, you know, the speeding that is happening, how much of that is happening within these designated zones that, you know, would add to the number of tickets potentially by the ASE. That's all. Yeah. So, like I say, it was just it was a question that was brought up, and I thought, okay, I'll see if we can do that, and if we can, that's great. If we can't, then so be it. We'll just we'll go with the stats from overall.
Member Brown, did you have a follow-up on that?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Pierce, would it be possible, if that's information that's desirable, to put one of the county speed spies there?
Well,
that information.
Through you, Madam Chair, I know the speed spies have been in those zones before, and I know, like for example, there's up on Silver Street in Paris, there's the one by Northward School. That's not a speed spy, but it's a speed sign, but they can take stats off of that. But to answer your question, that has been done in the past. So that. The only other thing I have is with the stats that we received from this past weekend. Is that something that's shared with the county media, or can it be shared with the county media so we can get that information out there? The fact that you know, this is in fact what our OPP, you know, part of what our OPP is doing. I'm not sure if that can be shared or not.
Through you, Madam Chair, I know that Constable Vitalis, our media officer, does share it with Melissa Connor. I know
Cool.
that we do link it up with the Brant page. So it is out there with social media to the Brant County.
Perfect. I thought I saw it before, but it's been a while, so I'm not sure. I just want to check on that. Yep. Other than that, is there anything else that you'd like to be taken back to council? I know, Inspector Ferguson, I know you're going to be coming in and chatting with council shortly, and that we're looking forward to that, and that's a great news story. Jennifer, I'm not sure if you're coming in that day or not, but
I don't know what the date is, so I'll have to talk to Inspector Ferguson offline. Yeah. I know that we had some back and forth with Mr. Bradley about trying to schedule some time, but I wasn't sure that the date had been settled upon. So
no, I'm not aware of the date yet either, but okay. It is coming.
Yeah, I don't think there was a date set, but I know it was discussed at our last meeting, the fact that that is going to be happening, and that was very well received by council as well. So
yeah, you had me scared there for a minute. I thought maybe I missed something, but it sounds like we're good. So no. Yeah, well, I think that'll be a good opportunity, Councillor Pierce, for a review and for a discussion. So that we look forward to that.
Absolutely. On
anything
both directions. So that's
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Was there anything from members that they wanted Councillor Pierce to take back, or anything, questions or clarification? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Pierce. Member Verhey, how's Zone 4 doing?
Somewhat sleepy as usual. No, there's an upcoming meeting in March, so nothing to report at this time, and I heard zero correspondence. Usually there's a little bit, but there was nothing. I think they're also preoccupied with this finding a leadership contender for taking the organization forward. So
nothing to report today?
Nope.
Okay. Item 10.3, there's nothing that I've heard of regarding the community safety and well-being plan, so I have nothing to report unless anybody else does. I don't believe there's been any additional work being done there. So at this time, we can maybe even take it off the standing item list. Nancy and I can talk about that offline. I'll move into the chair update. Just wanted to let you know that I've had some conversations and we'll work with Inspector Ferguson to clarify the role, not the role, perhaps the the name, the structure, however you want to, the communications of the community policing groups so that they align with the community safety and well-being plan. There's been some concerns raised about just the whether there's been name changes or not name changes, and if there's any costs associated with any of that alignment. So once we have more information, we'll come back to you, but I just want to let you know that I have had some outreach from the Paris group with some concerns, and Inspector Ferguson and I are working through those questions. And then as noted, Staff Sergeant Gutenberg has invited me to attend the orientation day, which I think is kind of a neat way to welcome the 3 new recruits to Brant, give them an orientation of about a whole bunch of things, not just Police Service Board, but that's a great opportunity for us to create some connection with the 3 new recruits about the work that the Police Service Board does collaboratively with OPP. So thank you for thinking of the Police Service Board to connect us that way. Ben, that's much appreciated. And other than that, that's my update, unless there's any questions or comments or suggestions. And then lastly, I know we have on our here as a standing item 2021 priorities, but I think we need to start thinking it's 2022. So I know we have some outstanding things that we wanted to do as a board, including the community communications outreach piece. So I would suggest that's still a priority for 2022 moving forward. But if you guys could give some thought and consideration to what these are our board's priorities, then that would be great. And we can maybe have a discussion at a future meeting to clarify our priorities. And unless there's anything else on the update section, I think that is all that we have on that. We do have under item 11, we do have an agenda item for in camera regarding a personal matter. So at this time, we will need a motion to go in camera. Mayor Bailey, is that a motion? Thank you. A seconder for that motion, please. Member Brown, and all those in favor of going into camera at this time. Thank you. That's passed. And we'll just give Nancy a moment here to do the technological adjustments. I think almost everybody's back. I think all we have, thank you everybody for coming back into the open session. Our next item on the agenda is next meeting, which is February 15th, third Tuesday of the month. Hopefully that works for everybody. It's a little bit earlier than normal, given that February 1st is a Tuesday. So we will meet electronically once again. It looks like we'll be meeting electronically for some time yet. If there's nothing else, we'll have an adjournment of the meeting. Nancy, do I require a motion to adjourn? No, thank
Just
you.
somebody can.
Do it yourself, Madam Chair.
I'll declare it adjourned then at 10:18. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Stay safe and stay warm.